You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Have you ever felt like you're alive, but not truly living? It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack talent. It's because something deep inside is quietly wearing you down. A kind of mental fatigue, a silent feeling of being lost. It's failure, but not the kind that shows. It's the failure that hides in plain sight. Today, we live in a world of endless information and opportunity. But what we're missing is inner strength. We wake up and scroll our phones without thinking. We compare ourselves to others based on curated images and filtered lives. We feel envious without realizing it, exhausted without knowing why. So, we escape into comfort, soft beds, Netflix, fast food, and endless 30-second content loops. But comfort comes with a price, and that price is weakness. The more we avoid discomfort, the harsher life becomes. There's a quote I always carry with me. Comfort is killing us. Hardship is where real strength is born. If you're still listening to this, chances are you felt that truth too. And I'm not here to give you shallow inspiration or sugar-coated quotes. I'm here to awaken something in you. Today, we'll dive into 10 brutal laws of Stoicism. Wisdom that has guided emperors, warriors, and unshakable souls through the storms of life. But let me be clear. This isn't a video to play in the background. This is a wake-up call. Watch to the end. Write down the line that hits you hardest. And if just one truth speaks to you, put it into practice. Because without action, nothing changes. Let's begin. Stoic law. Number 1. Stillness is the ultimate power. There's a kind of power that doesn't shout. It doesn't come from muscle. It doesn't come from loud words. It comes from stillness. In today's noisy world, where everyone wants to speak, be seen, go viral, the one who remains still is often the most powerful. Stillness is not weakness. It is mastery. Mastery of emotions, mastery of reactions, mastery of ego. Have you ever seen someone stay calm while being provoked? They didn't fight back. They didn't lash out. They just looked and walked away. That's not avoidance. That's the stance of an inner warrior. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let people say or do whatever they like. You must stay true to reason." The hardest thing in life isn't speaking up. It's knowing when to stay silent. The more intentional your silence, the more the world is forced to listen. You stop reacting from instinct and begin responding from wisdom. Think back to the last time you lost your temper, yelled, snapped, or overreacted. What happened next? Did you regret letting someone pull you into their chaos? The Stoics understood. Quick reactions are natural, but wise responses are powerful. In stillness, you hear your own voice. In stillness, you see the world clearly, not through emotional fog, but with clear, steady eyes. And in this era of constant noise, news, social media, endless opinions, deliberate silence is a powerful act of rebellion. So today, I invite you to try something small. Choose one situation where you normally react, and next time, stay silent. Observe, reflect. Don't retaliate. You'll see. That silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you deep, composed, and unshakably strong. Stoic law number 2. Amor fati, love your fate. Have you ever experienced something in life that you just couldn't explain? A sudden loss. A plan falling apart just when it felt within reach. A door slamming shut when you were certain it would open. And your first thought might have been, why me? But the Stoics would offer a different question entirely. Now that this has happened, how will I respond? That shift in perspective changes everything. The ancient Stoics had a phrase for this mindset, amor fati. It means love of fate, not just tolerating what happens to you, not enduring it with a clenched jaw, but embracing it, loving it, even the parts that break your heart. As Epictetus once said, don't seek for events to happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you'll find peace. Think about it. If you're walking a rocky path, you have two choices. Complain about the rocks, or stop, tighten your laces, and keep going. Wiser, steadier, stronger. Amor fati is the art of making peace with the path, even when it's not the one you would have chosen. I remember a time in my life when something I worked so hard for just didn't happen, and I was crushed. But years later, I saw clearly that failure redirected me toward something even more meaningful, something I never saw coming. And it was that very disappointment that shaped the strongest parts of who I am today. You see, amor fati is not about liking everything that happens. It's about loving who you become because of what happened. So here's your practice for today. Next time life throws something unexpected at you, pause, take a deep breath, and whisper to yourself, amor fati. I welcome this. I will grow through this. I will love even this. Because sometimes the road you never asked for is the one that leads you home. Stoic law number 3, embrace discomfort as a friend. If you think back to the moments that truly shaped you, the ones where you grew, evolved, became someone stronger, were they easy? I'm willing to bet they weren't. Growth almost never happens in comfort. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in struggle. The Stoics knew this intimately. They didn't wait for life to knock them down. They sought out challenge, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood a deeper truth. Discomfort is a teacher. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, surrounded by war, betrayal, and plague, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle is the path. Today, we're told to avoid pain at all costs. Avoid stress, avoid hunger, avoid failure. But the Stoic path says the opposite. Don't avoid. Trained Seneca, one of Stoicism's great minds, would sleep on the floor, eat bland food, and live simply. Not out of self-punishment, but to prepare himself for whatever might come. So what does that look like for us? It could be as small as taking a cold shower, saying no to a craving, sitting in silence for 10 minutes without picking up your phone, or speaking an uncomfortable truth you've been avoiding. These are micro doses of discomfort that build macro strength. Each time you choose the harder thing, you're building something inside you: resilience, self-trust, emotional armor. So here's your challenge for today. Choose something difficult, on purpose, not to suffer, but to sharpen, not to prove anything, but to prepare for everything. Because when you learn to welcome discomfort, it stops being your enemy and starts becoming your ally. Stoic law number 4. Detach from the outcome, love the process. We live in a world obsessed with results. Get the promotion, hit the number, go viral, win. But here's a hard truth that Stoicism teaches us. You can't control the outcome. You can control your effort. You can control your choices. You can control your attitude. But the results? They belong to fate. Epictetus said it clearly. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Think about that. You can give your all and still fail. You can do everything right and still be ignored. But if your worth is tied to the outcome, you'll feel like a failure, even when you're not. The Stoics offer a different way. Detach from the results, attach to the process. They believed that doing the right thing with integrity, with discipline, with presence, was a reward in itself. Imagine a craftsman who spends hours building a chair. Whether someone buys it or not doesn't change the quality of the work or the pride he takes in building it. That's Stoicism. You don't meditate to impress people. You don't show up early, keep your word, or do hard things because someone's watching. You do it because that's who you are. When you focus on the process, you gain something much deeper than a trophy. You gain self-respect. You gain mastery. You gain peace. So here's a question. What's one thing you've been putting off because you're too afraid it won't work out? Do it anyway. Show up for the process, not the applause. Because the paradox is, when you stop chasing results, you often become the kind of person who naturally attracts them. Stoic law number 5. Stop expecting life to be fair. Let's face something difficult. Life isn't fair. And here's the deeper truth. It was never meant to be. You can do everything right and still be overlooked. You can be kind and still be hurt. You can work harder than anyone and still lose. The Stoics didn't waste time wishing the world was different. They saw things for what they were, not what they should be. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who led through wars, plagues, and betrayal, once wrote, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing." He understood that injustice wasn't an exception. It was part of life's design. But instead of complaining, he focused inward. How do I stay strong? How do I stay just, even when the world is not? That's the Stoic way. See, the moment you demand fairness from life, you give up your power. You start living in a fantasy, a world that doesn't exist. But when you accept life as it is, with all its chaos, cruelty, and contradictions, you become grounded. You stop being shocked. You start being ready. The Stoics never said you shouldn't care. They simply said, don't expect what's out of your hands to play by your rules. So, what can you control? Your response, your principles, your dignity. Seneca said, sometimes just surviving is an act of courage, living with integrity even when no one notices, choosing kindness even when it's not returned, doing what's right without a reward. That's how you become resilient in a world that isn't fair. And if you ever feel tempted to ask, Why me? Try asking, what can I do with this? Because that question leads to strength. Stoic law number 6. Fight for character, not recognition. Have you ever done something truly good and no one noticed? No likes, no applause, no thank you. And suddenly you felt a little empty inside. That sting. It's real. Because as humans, we crave recognition. We want to be seen. We want to be valued. But the Stoics challenge us to ask, are you doing it for the praise or for the principle? Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, wrote in his journal, not for the public, but for himself. Just do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. He wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing alignment between what he believed and how he lived. In today's world, we've turned attention into currency. If it's not on Instagram, did it even happen? If no one claps, was it even worth it? The Stoics say, yes, absolutely. Because character is built in the quiet moments. When you keep a promise, no one remembers. When you tell the truth, even though it costs you. When you help someone and never tell a soul. That's real strength. That's who you are when no one's watching. Think about it. Would you still do the right thing if the world never found out? The Stoic answer is yes, because your reward is the person you become. Seneca once said, live as if all your thoughts were visible. It's not about performing, it's about integrity, the kind you carry quietly, like armor under your clothes. So today, I invite you to try this. Do one good thing, and don't tell anyone. Not because you're hiding it, but because you're practicing character over credit. The truth is, when you stop seeking approval, you start living with real freedom. And ironically, that's when people truly begin to respect you. Stoic law number 7, voluntarily practice hardship. Most people wait for life to get hard before they learn to be strong. But the Stoics, they don't wait for the storm. They train for it before it comes. In a world obsessed with comfort, discipline becomes a rare superpower. Seneca, one of the great Stoic minds, didn't just preach it, he lived it. He would sleep on the floor, eat stale bread, wear rough clothes, not because he had to, but because he wanted to remind himself. This is what you feared. This is what you were running from. He practiced discomfort, so when real hardship arrived, it wouldn't break him. Now look at us today. We get irritated when Wi-Fi is slow. We skip the gym because it's raining. We panic at the first sign of rejection or uncertainty. We're not weak. We're just untrained. So what does it mean to practice hardship? It can be simple. Skip a meal to train your willpower. Take a cold shower to push your limits. Wake up early when every part of you wants to sleep in. Sit in silence without checking your phone. Each small act is like lifting weights for the soul. You're building resilience, rep by rep. And here's the secret. The person who has already wrestled with voluntary discomfort won't be destroyed when involuntary suffering shows up. The Stoics didn't hope for an easy life. They prepared for a hard one, so that when difficulty arrived, they'd face it with calm, clarity, and courage. So today, ask yourself, What can I do that's just a little harder? On purpose. Not to punish yourself, but to prepare yourself. Because strength isn't built in comfort. It's forged in challenge. And the best time to train is now. Stoic law number 8. Don't let emotions control you. Have you ever woken up in a bad mood and watched the rest of your day unravel because of it? Maybe someone said something rude and it consumed your mind for hours. Or you got one piece of bad news and suddenly your whole week felt ruined. Here's the truth. We are born with emotions, but we are not meant to be ruled by them. The Stoics didn't reject emotions. They respected them, but they refused to be controlled by them. Epictetus put it bluntly, anyone who can anger you owns you. Let that sink in. If a stranger on the internet, a co-worker, or a memory from the past can hijack your peace, then you've handed over your power. Now let's be clear. You're human. You will feel sadness, anger, frustration. That's normal. But feeling something and following it are not the same thing. You can feel the fire of anger and choose not to throw it at someone. You can feel anxiety rise and still take calm, deliberate action. That's the Stoic skill, not suppressing emotion, but guiding it with reason. Think of your emotions like the weather. You can't stop a storm, but you can prepare for it. You can bring a coat. You can choose whether to panic or walk forward anyway. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So the next time you're upset, pause. Don't react, don't post, don't lash out, just breathe. Ask yourself, is this emotion useful right now? Is it helping me or hijacking me? Because when you master your reactions, you become someone the world cannot control. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who feels deeply, but acts wisely. Stoic law number 9, remember death, live urgently. Have you ever stopped to truly think about your own death? Not in a dark, fearful way, but in a clear, sobering way. The Stoics had a phrase they lived by. Memento mori. Remember, you must die. To some, it sounds grim, but to the Stoics, it was the most powerful reminder of how to truly live. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." When you carry that awareness, petty things lose their grip. Delays and excuses become obvious lies. You stop waiting for someday and start living now. Because here's the hard truth. Death isn't the enemy. Wasting your life is. Think about it. If you knew you only had 1 week left, would you still scroll mindlessly through your phone? Would you still hold grudges, hide your heart, postpone your dreams? Or would you show up fully, speak honestly, love deeply, live intentionally? Seneca said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Every day you wake up is not a given, it's a gift. And that gift is asking you, how will you use this day? The Stoics didn't obsess over death to be morbid. They did it to make sure they didn't sleepwalk through life. So here's a challenge. Tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself, if today had been my last, would I be proud of how I lived it? If the answer is no, then tomorrow is your second chance. You can't control how much time you have, but you can control how deeply you live. And that makes all the difference. Stoic law number 10. Focus only on what you can control. There's one principle that, if you truly embrace it, can change your life forever. Only focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. Simple? Yes. Easy? Not at all. But if you're honest with yourself, how much of your stress, anger, and anxiety comes from trying to control things that were never yours to control? We worry about what others think of us. We get angry when people don't act the way we expect. We feel helpless about the economy, politics, the past, the future. But Epictetus, once a slave, later a great Stoic teacher, said it best. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. So what is up to us? Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your attitude. That's it. And that's more than enough. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's like being a captain of a ship in rough waters. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you steer. The world will always be unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Life will be unfair. But the one thing, the only thing, no one can take from you is how you respond. So here's a practice for today. Next time something upsets you, pause and ask, is this within my control? If yes, take action. If not, let it go. Not because you don't care, but because your peace matters more than your illusion of control. In the end, control isn't about having power over the world. It's about having mastery over yourself. And in that space, you become unshakable. Conclusion: the path to becoming unshakable. You don't need to wait for the perfect day to begin. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. Because the truth is, that moment may never come. But you can start right now. With one thought, one choice, one courageous step. Stoicism doesn't promise a life free of pain or struggle. It doesn't offer comfort for the sake of comfort. Instead, it gives you something far greater. Shield clarity in chaos, strength in uncertainty, inner fire that no storm can extinguish. This journey isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about becoming deeply, fully human, awake, grounded, and guided by wisdom rather than fear. You practice it daily, not just when life is hard, but especially when it is. You pause instead of reacting. You choose purpose over approval. You embrace discomfort as a teacher. And you stop trying to control the uncontrollable and focus on your own mind, your own actions, your own soul. You won't change overnight, but each day, each small decision, each moment of stillness will shape you into someone no one and nothing can shake. So if this message has stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this podcast so we can keep walking this path together. Share this episode with someone who needs it, because sometimes one idea at the right moment can change everything. We are building a quiet movement, not of noise and ego, but of clarity, resilience, and depth. Thank you for being part of it. And remember, I am becoming unbreakable, one day at a time.